Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I was doing a little research yesterday, and I came up with some home remedies and safety procedures. I'd like to give some of those to you right now. Number one, avoid cutting yourself slicing vegetables by getting someone else to hold the veggies while you chop. And here's one to cure the common cough. If you have a bad cough, take a large dose of laxatives. Oh, boy. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. Good morning. Oh, thank you. Good morning. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. And our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers. Western Way Services always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. And the Valley Country Stores in Jerome, Buell, Gooding, Wendell, Shoshone, Bellevue, and 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at the Valley Country Stores. Let's see, do we have a Pledge of Allegiance person?
Yes, we do.
And who may that be?
Mrs. Arbogast.
Well, thank you, Wheels. Good morning, Lorna. The pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Thank you, Lorna, and the very best to you today. And we'll see you next week at Lunch Bunch. God bless you. Thank you.
And thank you.
All righty. Okay. Nice lady right there, and thank you very much. It's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. And today being Wednesday, we can do it Wednesdays. That's right. Replace your door trim with thick Craftsman trim, and it'll help add a pretty and unique look to your house. There's a little bit of We Can Do It Wednesday, and more tips and all kinds of carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And now here's Gino with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we make our way through the work week, and it's going to be beautiful for today. Sunny skies, high of 80, expect an overnight low of 44. Tomorrow, maybe a few clouds, slightly breezy, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. Back up to 8 for Friday. Saturday, clouds are going to be rolling in, temperature dropping down to about 73. We do have a slight chance of rain showers on Saturday. But then for Sunday, winds are picking up. We do have a chance of rain showers, high of 64 with an overnight low of 41. And for Monday, sunny skies, windy, high of 63. Yesterday's high was 85. Sunset tonight at 6:54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Hey, Gina, stop with the bad winds and maybe negative weather on weekends. That's the only time I have to do anything outside. Oh, my goodness. I got meetings all day today and tomorrow, and the weather's supposed to be phenomenal. And the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. We have, and I'm going to do this before I get started this morning, some public service announcements that I really want to promote and plug. Now, this coming Sunday, this week on Sunday, a march is going to take place starting at the Winco parking lot at noon, and it's put on by the Idaho 3 Percenters. And quite frankly, I agree with everything they're saying in this march. They're protesting because they want Idaho homeless first, they want Idaho veterans first, Idaho students first, Idaho citizens first, and they say, and I'm going to follow right along with them, the refugee program at CSI is a threat to our communities, and they're going to be starting at the Winco parking lot and walking around the CSI campus on Sunday. And I take my hat off and salute the Idaho 3 Percenters. I think that's a great, great cause. Also, I understand there's going to be a military micronutrient formulation meeting at the home of Randy and Nora Golay, and it's going to be this Thursday, tomorrow night, October 15th at 6:30, and I'm just trying to find the address here real quick, and call for information 670-1904, 670-1904. Anybody with health issues would be really interested in attending this meeting tomorrow night. There we go. Now, I got to say this. I have waited and waited, not patiently, over many, many years to say this on the air. Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win! I was so excited last night. We ran home from a bunch of meetings and everything we had in Twin yesterday. Unfortunately, I got home very late. It was going into the 8th inning. And the Cubbies, long story short, they beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals were a lead pipe cinch to go on and possibly be again the World Series champions. The Cubs whooped them in the division series last night. That is the first time in over 100 years that the Cubs have won a series of any type at Wrigley Field. First time. Oh, and you heard on the news from CBS that 93-year-old that broke down in tears? Well, I almost broke down in tears last night. And now they're either going to take on the Mets or the Dodgers. Then that will be for the National League Championship. Then on, hopefully, to the World Series. Oh, boy. And by the way, I got to say this because who knows, I might all of a sudden call Gene over at the station and say, I've got a real bad cold. I'm going to be gone for a couple days. Deanne's relatives are the owners of the Chicago Cubs. And I'm not above calling him and saying, long-lost relative here, we'd sure like to fly back to Chicago if the Cubs make the World Series. Thank you very much. I'm excited. Hey, don't forget Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and the other location with Thomas and the crew at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Oh, the menu is fantabulous. Breakfast, lunch, and or dinner. I mean, it's good. And I got to tell you that it's also the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 611 Overland in Burley, and our lunch bunch is going to be next week on Thursday, the 22nd. 22nd of October already. Holy mackerel. You can stop in anytime and enjoy the food and the great service at Denny's Restaurant. And don't forget, Denny's is also sponsoring the high school game of the week, where if you pick the right team and the closest to the final score, you'll receive a Grand Slam breakfast. And this week, we're going to be featuring a non-conference game between Burley and Filer. So think about that, Burley and Filer. That's our game of the week this week. Real quick, too, I want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Now, you heard the weather. You heard Gina say, she just loves coming in and spoiling the weekend. The weather's going to get a little nasty and substantially cooler, okay? Well, make sure that your furnace is sitting down in the basement ready and raring to go when you turn up the thermostat, and make sure you get some clean air filters for your furnace. And they've got them right over there at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Let's get into it. I went back and forth on the TV dial last night between the game after the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Mets, and tried to get involved and show some interest and take notes on the Democratic debate. I gotta tell you, it was just nothing more, in my opinion, than a lovey-dovey love fest. It was almost revolting. No one up on the stage last night of the 5 candidates challenged Hillary Clinton about anything. They didn't challenge her about scandals. They didn't challenge her about her emails. They didn't challenge her about Benghazi. They didn't challenge her about the money going through her trust funds, etc. They didn't challenge her about anything. And I saw this one, even the wild-haired Bernie Sanders excused Hillary from any wrongdoing regarding the emails and just said, basically, let's just get past it. They were shining everything on last night. It was almost like a group hug. And it was sickening. Lincoln Chaffee, Chaffee, whatever. He looked like an extra in a movie that was just standing in the background going, well, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I sure hope somebody notices me. And then Martin O'Malley, he's got the appearance of standing there like he's one of the creations in a wax museum. And Jim Webb, he was honestly the only difference of the Democrats on the stage last night. He has a difference of opinion on energy. He has a difference of opinion on military strategy, being a former Marine. But Bernie Sanders and Hillary and, oh, man, what were your thoughts about this? Did you have the stomach to sit down and really watch it last night? I'd love to hear your opinion of the Democrats. If that's the best that party can come up with, and if America, and let's just call it like it is, if America's dumb enough to put one of them in the Oval Office, Houston, we have a problem. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget your Valley Country Stores. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't you dare go away. Valley Country Stores, Jerome, Buell, Gooding, Wendell, Shoshone, Bellevue, and 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Now, I like being prepared. I like having everything where I can, at a moment's notice, just reach out and touch it, like AT&T, I guess. But anyhow, I like warm clothes and everything just available. So, hey, when you step outside in the morning, you can turn right around and go back in and get something that's a little bit warmer. Well, it's about that time of the year. Winter coats, flannel shirts, gloves, hats, boots, everything for your winter gear is over at the Valley Country Stores. And it's not too late to think about still going fishing and hunting, and they got all the licenses and all the gear, everything. So you stop over. Local people really serving you at the Valley Country Store, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, and all the other locations that I mentioned, because they do have everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at the Valley Country Stores. Caller, good morning to you. Nice to have you on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. Well, I got home last night and find on the TV about the middle of that debate, and I sat there and watched it, and finally I just had to turn it off because I was getting so disgusted with the lack of them saying anything about how they were going to take care of any of the problems with this country as far as, reemploying the workforce, managing our debt and our budget, our military. I'm like, yeah, you were right. It was a kissy, hug fest.
Well, let me tell you something. What you just touched on needs to be elaborated on. They didn't say anything about lowering the deficit. They didn't say anything about lowering costs and expenses. They didn't say anything about that. But what they did say, caller, and they were very emphatic about this, is giving free stuff away to the American public. And I sat there and I looked at my wife and I said, how dumb is this? You don't give anything free because somebody has got to pay for it.
Well, yeah, the money has to come from somewhere, and you know as well as I do with Democrats where that money will come from.
Yeah, buddy.
It'll come from us, the providers, they say.
Yeah.
The people that actually work for a living, because they'll just raise taxes.
You got it, my friend. I tell you what, I'm like you. I watched it grudgingly because, first of all, I thought it was stupid. Second of all, I thought it was just nothing but a love fest. And third of all, it was a waste of complete time because the others didn't have any backbone to attack Hillary. It was just nothing more than, I love you so much. It was pathetic.
Yeah, it was. So, anyway, that was my 2 cents.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You too. Have a good day.
All right. I could not believe this free stuff. They started talking about, free college tuition for illegal aliens. Free health care. Let the rich pay for it. That's exactly what Hillary said. Let the rich pay for it. There was a litany, a list of things that they are going to give and provide. Those 2 words really upset me. Give and provide to illegal aliens and the lesser incomes. Now, those in the audience right now are probably, some of you of liberal persuasions are going, well, that's a good thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. With all this dumb Democrat free stuff, we, the United States, will end up in a very deep recession or even possibly worse, a severe depression. You can't keep giving free stuff. You can't keep adding on to the debt. Somewhere along the line, the Grim Reaper's going to be there and say, it's time to pay the piper. This is absolute idiocy. If this is the Democratic platform, they are nuts. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, headed up by Nick Greenwell and the rest of the physical therapists there. They are excellent with comprehensive services to help you get back to being and feeling like you. Call for an appointment today at 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Absolutely the best. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
I figured you'd call.
Yeah, I love it when they use that 4-letter word.
Free.
Yes.
Doug, honestly, we can poke fun at them, and I just absolutely dense as far as their thinking is concerned. But in all reality, I'll sit back for 30 seconds and let you tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, Rubio put it best. Their policies are in the 80s. One thing I would like to see, if they want to make it a socialist for the rich people, pay their share and give up, let them lead by example. Let Hillary give up 90% of her wealth. Let Bill give up 90% of his, and everybody on stage give up 90% of their wealth. Then I will join them. But let them lead by example.
All right,
Don't say we're going to do this.
I want to say this to you, and I know that your background with your family and everything, you will agree with me. Bernie Sanders and Hillary last night were the most emphatic about giving free stuff to everybody and having the wealthy pay for it, okay? And there was absolutely a slam last night to those in our country that have worked hard and really established themselves as business leaders and community leaders. Did you hear that part?
Yes.
Okay.
And the way they backtracked about the small business when they say businesses make too well, we got to take care of the small business, the big companies. So, in other words, start a little business, but don't do anything to make it grow.
Yeah, but now listen to me very carefully, and this is where you may not agree with me. I absolutely do not agree that we are all equal. I do not agree that we all deserve the same in life. We have opportunities to go out and work hard and try to excel and increase our own position in life, but it's not up to the government to say that everybody should get the same chance or the same opportunity or be given the same things. It's not right.
Given is the word there, and equal being you have the same opportunity.
That's
to go
right.
out and work hard.
That's right.
To become somebody, but if you don't want to work hard, you're not going to go anywhere.
Here's a thought. Oh, gee, this is a novel idea. Get up off your dead butt and put your pants up to the level they should be. Take the ring out of your nose and go out and get ahead in life.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I seen a quote yesterday from Einstein says, get a job, and within 2 weeks you will come into some money.
Oh, I love it. Doug, thank you for your call.
Did you get that email I sent you? Regarding ISIS and...
I did. That was excellent, and I'm going to use that tomorrow probably on the program.
Oh, good.
I honestly, all of a sudden,
interesting.
My mind went blank, which is not a new occurrence, and I couldn't think for a minute, so thank you.
What do you mean, when?
Doug, be good. Okay, buddy, thanks. All right, thanks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our dear friends at Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, sponsoring Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. And they've got the Western Windows. Upgrade your windows with Western Windows and save on your heating bills this winter. Absolutely, they're great. Zach and the rest of the crew serving you. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, and bringing you Dr. History. I just don't understand. I was raised, I think, differently. Thank God, and I mean that my parents installed and instilled a work ethic in me. You know, these people are sitting back going, yay, Hillary's going to give us free education. Yay, they're going to provide more health care. Yay, they're going to give us this. Yay, they're going to give us that. Wait a minute. What kind of leeches have we become in this country? Where is the work ethic to go out? I don't give a rip if you're flipping burgers. Try harder. Maybe become a manager. Hey, then the sky's the limit. You might even become a franchise owner and whatever. But try. People, as far as saying, well, income inequality, why, we got to take it away from the rich and give it to those of lesser means. Baloney. Let them work for it or try to excel and pull themselves up the human ladder. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we should all get on the food chain. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. No thanks. I want to say thank you very much to Christine Pickup. And, of course, she is over at Mount Harrison Audiology. And hearing is very important. And a lot of the health of the inner ear is affected by your cardiovascular and kidney health. Did you know that? We've been telling you that it might be medications that might be messing up your hearing. It might be something with maybe a disease or high blood pressure, whatever the case might be. So please, if you're not hearing everything, get a hold of Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call today at 312-0957. 312-0957. They're right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room and waiting to serve you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. How about a call from you? Give me a jingle. And, oh, by the way, on Mondays, don't forget, too, we give away a half dozen delicious, absolutely fantastic cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, right there on the square. And if you answer the question correctly, you will win. Oh, it's delicious. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner over there, and they got a great bakery open 6 to 6 weekdays, 6 to 2 on weekends at Sophie's Chatterbox. Excellent. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I love this word, income inequality.
Yeah.
So, if all of the people who are creating income all of a sudden just start dividing it up equally amongst everybody, no matter who they are, pretty quick, nobody's having an income.
Why, you
There's
don't...
got to be somebody providing.
Well, you don't think that's what they're trying to do, to make people subservient to the government for every whim and need, do you?
Well, and the government is not going to have much income either.
No.
You equalitize everything unless you're going to make everybody pay a national sales tax. There is not going to be any money for this government.
All right, now, Chris, now, did you watch the debate?
Oh, gosh. I'm afraid I did, and I was just furious the whole way through.
Now, tell me if you think I'm wrong on my analogy of this, because I'm going to have a lady on later on this morning at 9:30. Don't miss it. Her name is Rachel Alexander, and she's...
I don't miss much on your show.
I appreciate it. And she is the senior editor of The Stream, and she's interviewed every one of these Democratic candidates. And I'm going to talk to her about this debate. But all I heard last night, basically from every candidate, is give you, provide you. The government will be your babysitter, your grandma and grandpa. They will be the one all catch all, and we're going to take it away from the rich. Am I wrong?
No, you are absolutely right. And outside of Bernie Sanders, it sounds to me like he really lives a very modest life. When is Hillary going to let all of the poor little urchins in her neighborhood move into her nice mansion?
You know, I just got sick and tired last night of the attitude of equal. You know, I hate that word. I don't know about you, Chris, but I always told my kids that you are no better than anyone else, but no one is better than you.
You are judged by your ability to make a difference in this world.
Absolutely.
And some people are just more fortunate. It doesn't mean that you didn't do something right, but keep on working, keep on trying. That's what made America great.
Where's the incentive? Caller number 2, I'll be there in a minute, but where is the incentive if everybody is at a ceiling of the same height? In other words, you know that you can only make X amount of dollars because somebody else might feel jealous, so you're only going to achieve a certain amount. I don't want to live in a world like this. I want to go out and try to do my best for the time that God gave me on this great earth and use my talents and try to exceed and succeed the best I can.
Competition is what has made America great.
Amen. Chris?
That's the final word.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Very nice lady. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't you dare go away. Don't forget our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness. 3 locations. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Busy place. Man, they've got the big rigs parked all over the place. They've got all the equipment to do the job right. Stop over. Maybe you need a Bobcat skid steer loader, or maybe one of those big Doosan loaders. Holy moly, those are big puppies, let me tell you. They've got it all, and they can teach you how to run them, and whether you're leasing or buying, that's the place to go. Berry Equipment and Rental, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Ted.
Yes, sir.
You know, it really bothers me. I just wonder what some of these people who are pulling out their food stamp cards and all this stuff and getting out in these vehicles, they're driving away in brand new vehicles. You know, when I was growing up during the Depression, There were nights all we had to eat was a little bread and milk.
Yeah.
There was no welfare department to go to cry. And I need more food. I need more money. I need a payment for my Escalade. And I'm really upset about this whole thing.
I tell you what brings caller number 2. Stay there. I'll be right there. But Tony, here's what bothers me, and I kept thinking about this last night. Do you remember a video that came out on the news about a year ago, and it showed a black woman, a very heavy-set, quite frankly, let's be honest, fat black woman, yelling at the TV camera that she didn't care because Obama's administration was going to buy her cell phone and pay for it? You remember that video?
I don't remember that one, no, but how about this one lady that had 8 kids, kept having kids and driving around in a Cadillac?
Yeah.
And, nobody was going to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's the same premise. What I'm getting at is there are people that have turned into leeches in our society because the government's going to gimme. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to have any more of these programs. I want to get rid of that kind of thought. I want to see Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton fade off into the distance because their kind of policy is going to destroy America.
Well, when I go down to my local food mart there and I see people running out of there with 2 carriages full of meat and stuff and getting in brand new vehicles, yeah, I'm upset.
Tony, I heard Mary in the background. Give her a great big kiss. Tell her I said hello. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, I think if the Democrats had their way, we'd all be driving a Ford because we don't have any choice. You know, it's what's there, and that's all you get, and you don't need to improve on it because you don't have any competition.
Yeah. What is the concept here? Now, you've been self-employed basically most of your life, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. But you had the incentive, you had the drive, and you went through the school of hard knocks to achieve what you wanted to achieve. And by giving people everything, you're not going to instill any kind of a value system whatsoever, and it will absolutely destroy this country.
That's right. But in business, as you know, every time they throw a roadblock in front of you, you have to find a way to get around.
There you go. There you go.
Continue to grow.
I just saw last night, I was afraid last night, and I mean that. I cringed in fear that one of those ninnies, and they were all a bunch of ninnies, on the stage might become the President of the United States. God help us all.
You know, the thing that I noticed about that is they all wanted to placate to Hillary because they knew that she was a stronger candidate, and they all want a cabinet job.
Yeah, that's probably true. Keith, always good to hear from you. Give a kiss to Nancy. Tell her we wish her the best. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Nice day.
Thank you. You know, there was something else last night, too. And I'm blunt. And if you out there in the audience don't like some of my analogies, I don't know what to say. Hillary reminded me of a late-night cleaning lady with an attitude problem and a raucous, nauseating voice like a magpie. I know. Her in her pantsuits. I mean, what was she trying to be? Just one of the boys last night? It was so pathetic with the gimme, free, and then the slamming and damning, which it was, of the NRA and, quite frankly, gun owners in general. She made a poignant attempt at running down guns, gun owners, gun stores, etc., and the NRA. And basically blamed gun stores for all the nation's ills. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I don't know about you, Zeb, but what you seen at Hillary last night isn't Hillary. She's coming across to be this nice person, and she was so fakey last night, it about made me nauseous.
Hillary is not a nice person, and I'm telling you right now, sir, if you have nothing to do tomorrow morning at 10:30, I am going to have, and he's been on all the national shows, whether it's Hannity, whether it's O'Reilly, whether it's Greta, it doesn't make any difference. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, I've got Ed Klein coming on, and he has written a book with all the facts about Bill and Hillary Clinton and how nasty they really are. Don't miss that.
Well, I can believe that. And then that Sanders talking about taking from the rich and giving to the poor. When you're giving stuff, it doesn't mean as much to you. And you've been there, Zeb. It doesn't mean as much to you when you earn it yourself.
Well,
I spent some time back in Pennsylvania in the military, going back and forth to Philadelphia, and they built a big building for the people back there that didn't have anything, and it was really nice. And then 2 weeks after they moved into it, you wouldn't have known that it was brand new.
Absolutely.
They trashed it and didn't take care of it. That's what happens when people are given things that don't earn them.
Well, here, let's use this kind of terminology. The Robin Hood theory. Take from the rich and give to the poor. And pretty soon, when you've taken from the rich and you've created a new segment of the poor, you don't have anything except this exchange of currency. Nobody's paying any bills. Nobody's trying to excel. Nobody's trying to make their business bigger. Nobody's hiring more people. And you've got utter chaos in a commerce market that is not making any profit, and we're all subservient to the government. Am I wrong?
No, you're right, and that's what they're preaching is communism is what they're teaching.
Yes, they are.
So they own it all, and we end up owning nothing.
Absolutely, but why?
We might ought to be careful and study each one of these people before we make a decision on who we're going to vote. But that because she looks good or he looks handsome, or that we vote for him. And that's not the way that you go to the polls.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You know as well as I do that there is a segment in this society that wants all the free cell phones, why they want all the free health care, why they want free college tuition. And their numbers are such that they're nothing more than blood leeches on our society, and they're going to the polls and they're voting with increasing numbers to take the money and everything away from us.
Well, we're gonna have to put a stop to it because this nation can't afford for that to keep happening.
Amen.
So have a good day.
All right. God bless you, my friend. Thank you for your call. You're spot on this morning, and I appreciate it. Hey, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Oh, my goodness. I about choked to death. Offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. And whether it's gas furnaces, air conditioners, or heat pumps, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Don't forget, call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money. Absolutely at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Wheels, I'm sorry. Did you notify me that there's another call? I forgot. Is there one waiting?
I did not, sir.
Okay, I apologize. I wasn't sure.
You okay?
All right, sir. We will take some more calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am going to dedicate a large portion of this program every single day leading up to the election to condemn, and yes, damn, the Democratic platform and what they're trying to do and achieve in this country. I think it's insidious. I think it's absolutely a heinous crime against America. And we are destroying, just absolutely destroying, a work ethic in America to go out, get a job. Maybe it's not the job you want. Maybe it's not a career job. But go out and be a positive in the workforce. And keep looking. Keep educating yourself. Maybe find something better. Go up the chain just like I did, my dad did, my grandfathers, and everybody else. Why should we give you things? Why? Get up off your big, fat hiney and go to work. Pull your pants up. Act like a man and or woman. And get out there and you promote you. Time for the weather. It's brought to you by Mad River Laser. And they're located at 502 East Street in Rupert. And their gift shop has all kinds of home decor items. Oh, my goodness sakes. And they've got all the Halloween and fall goodies over there. This is really quite a place. You need to get over there and check it out. Nicole and the rest of the crew over there. It's fun to go in there. And they've got all the football jerseys over there, and you can put your name on them. And they've got all the year-end awards for your businesses. Oh, my goodness. Stop in, take some time and just browse. Wonderful people at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we make our way through the work week, and it's going to be beautiful for today. Sunny skies, high of 80, expect an overnight low of 44. Tomorrow, maybe a few clouds, slightly breezy, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. Back up to 8 for Friday. Saturday, clouds are going to be rolling in, temperature dropping down to about 73. We do have a slight chance of rain showers on Saturday. But then for Sunday, winds are picking up. We do have a chance of rain showers, high of 64 with an overnight low of 41. And for Monday, sunny skies, windy, high of 63. Yesterday's high was 85. Sunset tonight at 6:54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, great job. And don't forget, brought to you this hour by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Really nice folks. As you know, on this program, I have offered many, many times to take some of the Democratic thought and put them on my show. And sit back and be very professional, very courteous, and let them ramble. And then ask questions about how they could ever adhere to that kind of a program, how they could believe in that kind of a concept. But they won't call. And I've invited some personally. And some have been so rude, they've hung up the phone. So, for those of you in the audience that have sent me emails or criticized me for not getting the other side on this program for a debate, all I can say is they have been the cowards. They have been the little puppy dog putting their tail between their legs and scampering across the kitchen floor into the garage. They don't have the courage to back up their convictions. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There is another aspect of what happened last night with these 5 dim-dims, and it was gun control. And there is a very chilling case that's going on in my former home state of Wisconsin regarding a company called Badger Guns. And follow this with me now, and then call me and give me your opinion. A man goes into a gun store, and he buys a gun legally with all the permits and, the paperwork and everything else. And then that man goes out and sells the gun to someone else or gives the gun to someone else, and that person commits a crime. And so the Democrats, Hillary, Bernie, and the rest of them, they want to make it retroactive to go back on the gun store and even go back further to the gun manufacturing company. Oh, this is dangerous. Very dangerous. Gun control at its worst. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Say, Back to the Future. Yeah, it's in 2015. The Cubs are going to win the World Series. I don't know. But on a more serious note, the last nail in the coffin of freedom-loving people is gun control. And boy,
they're inching their way towards it, and they're getting towards the goal line. It's pretty scary, Zeb.
Well, I know it's very scary, but there's a couple of things that I've said on this program for the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to stand behind. I urge people to go and arm themselves and learn about weapons and be self-providers of their own security and protection, because the government, the police, no one else can really be there as a first-time safety device for a family that's in need. Arm yourselves, America. It is more than past time.
Well, Zeb, the other reason, people won't come on your program is because really they don't have anything other than a lot of free stuff. That's their platform. Put out the handouts, redistribute the wealth.
Yep.
That's their total program. Kill the babies. It's just unbelievable that people buy that. But like I say, the big thing is they have more free stuff than the Republicans.
I agree with you. Adrian, always good to hear from you, my friend. Have a great day. God bless you for your thoughts this morning. You're spot on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. He's right. Really, what kind of self-respect? Let's talk about self-respect here for a few minutes. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Oh, there's clowns looking for a circus out there that'll come back on me and say, I was saying you're so much better than everybody else. No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, maybe with the mistakes I've made in my life, I'm far below other people. I don't know. But I do know, going back to what I said earlier this morning, I thank the good Lord above for the work ethic that my parents provided to me and showed me and instilled in me. Because they told me years and years ago that you can do this. You can go out and accomplish your goals. You can reach for a star, and if you know what you want to do, you can go out and you can drag that star out of the sky. Why in the world are we allowing the Democrats that stood up at those podiums last night to lead us down into the sewer of despair with a gimme, gimme, gimme attitude from the government? Everybody's equal. Everybody gets the same things. We'll provide education. We'll provide health care. Why? All you're doing is just creating dependency on a government that wants to control you forever. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for more of your calls to come on in this morning. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, with the best in brake service. I had a gentleman call me the other day, as a matter of fact, and he said, you were right. They really know brakes. Professionally trained technicians and free brake inspections and estimates, and the brake industry's best warranty right there at all 7 locations. Along with all your batteries, your shocks and struts, front end alignments, and of course, the very best in tires. With all 7 locations, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. Talk to me, caller. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. I'm just a little confused. I totally believe in the right to be able to vote, our freedom to be able to vote in that. But what if there's nobody out there to vote for? I mean, that's...
Well, no, okay.
What I'm saying is, I told my husband, I said, I'm not voting this year, or when the time comes, and he says, you have to. And I said, no, I don't, because there's nobody worth voting for.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Have you really honestly studied the candidates? Have you really honestly studied their platforms and what they represent, what they want, what they think they want to put forth for the American public? By sitting home.
I've listened to
Yeah, but wait a minute.
I haven't studied completely, but I have listened to what they have to say.
All right, but now let me just say this, and I'm not trying to be sexist with your husband against you, but I appreciate your call and your honesty. But by sitting back and letting others go to the polls and basically form your future without you voicing in your future, that's a crime.
You're right, and I do want to vote, but I just don't even know. I have no idea who I would vote for, though, because I'm not happy with what's out there. So am I supposed to pick the best or the worst?
Well, now let's look at it this way. We still have a year and 3 months and some odd days left of this Obama administration. And in 2016, you still have a lot of time to sit down, analyze, study, talk to other people, maybe attend meetings, maybe turn on the TV and listen to different speeches, etc. But I will tell you this. Somebody has got to lead this country out of the left doldrums that they've put us in. The Hillary Clintons, the Martin O'Malley's, the Bernie Sanders, the Jim Webbs, the Lincoln Chafees, they're not going to do it. And I do not want an extension of the Obama administration through another run with Joe Biden. So, that being said, certainly, my dear, you sound like a very intelligent lady. You can pick out of the other bunch, the other side of the aisle, because your vote does matter.
Yes, I agree with that. I totally believe that. I just, sometimes when I think about it all, I think, my gosh, you want to be able to pick somebody who is going to lead the country, and
it's frustrating, isn't it?
It is. It's very frustrating, and I don't know about you, but it's a bit frightening to me because obviously the last one hasn't worked.
Amen. Amen.
So anyways,
let me say this. Let me say this.
I don't want to be one of those that just gives up. I'm just a bit confused.
Let me do this. Let me do this before you hang up. Don't hang up real quick, because I've got to go to the news. I want to just say this to you. Please call me back in about 30 days. And we'll have the same discussion, and let's see if maybe your attitude and also your perusal of some of the information hasn't changed your mind on some of the candidates. Please call me back. I'd appreciate that.
Okay, I will.
God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I got to run to the news. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call them at 312-0957 today. I'll be back in 6. Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday already. Can you believe this is October 14th already? Holy smokes, where did this month go? Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers like Valley Country Stores at Jerome, Buell, Gooding, Wendell, Shoshone, Bellevue, and 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. I'll tell you what, they can help you get rid of your garbage. They're there almost like clockwork, and they do a wonderful job serving you. Remember, call 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. You call them today. Wonderful people to work with. By the way, when I say wonderful people to work with, I want to remind you every morning at 8:06 when we start this show, We have our weather forecast, and it is brought to you by our friends, I just about tipped my microphone over, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door, carpet, flooring, kitchen construction, everything to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. You know, also, we're very, very proud and blessed on this program that we have the cream of the crop of advertisers and sponsors, and I mean that, the very best. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family and his staff, always there when you need them and serving you with family attention. Absolutely, and they can travel to the rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. And don't forget, too, always with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. One other little word, don't forget the Denny's high school football game of the week. And you, if you pick the correct team and the closest to the final score, will receive a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. Really, really good, folks, and delicious food. Let's go to the phone line right now. And I am blessed to have as a good friend back in Indianapolis, Indiana, Mr. Dave Bego on the line. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
He is unavailable, sir. It went straight to his voicemail.
Deanne, let me tell Deanne, Dave Bego is not at that number. Wouldn't you check it out right away for us, please? Okay, Wheels, thank you very much. But keep trying that number, please.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's traveling today? We just got a memo, and he's not available? Oh, well, that just is a fine kettle of fish. So we'll make it for you, the audience, to give us a call at 436-2244-1866-927-4587. Doggone, I thought we had a guest for this half hour, so we don't. So we're going to open up the phone lines, and I'd like you to call me and talk about anything you want to talk about, whether it's the Democrats and their so-called debate last night, or anything else, whether it's the Cubbies winning the division series last night. Give me a call. Caller, thank you very much. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I have one thing that I want to mention, and maybe offensive to some of the people, but I think it needs to be said. And that's, did you ever wonder why there isn't more business people who call in and express their opinion? And the reason is there's nothing in it for them to do that, except they will not get as much business. And that's the biggest problem, is we have so many naysayers in our area, but they won't come forth and say anything. So they'll try to punish you by not doing business with you. And I believe that is a true statement.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm not quite sure what kind of a statement you're making there. I am very blessed on this program, Keith, that I have the cream of the crop of advertisers. I mean, the creme de la creme, the best. And they have shown that they've got the backbone and, quite frankly, the guts to ride the horse with me. And there's a lot of complainers, there's a lot of whiners, there's a lot of liberals out there that would like to see me go by the wayside. But my sponsors have got the guts to stand up.
And I admire them for that. But they don't voice their own personal opinion of the issues that come up.
Many times they do. Many times they do, and I'm not going to go into a list of names because that wouldn't be fair without making sure I can use their name on the air. But I agree with you that America, in general, has got to start showing some more backbone and spine, and not just blame the politicians, but also blame us.
That's correct. You know, we try to do what's right, and there's a lot of people out there that are doing what's right, but they will not speak up.
I agree. Keith, good point. Excellent point. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
Good day.
Thank you, sir. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb.
Hi, Jerry.
You know, it upsets me when I hear these Democrats talking about taking all our gun rights away from us. You know, they must be plumb stupid to think that the people that own them guns don't know who's trying to take them away, and if there ever became a war on it, who they're going to go after.
Yeah.
I'm sure it ain't going to be the people that are saying, hey, you ought to be able to keep them. They're going to go after the ones that say, hey, we're going to take them from you. You can't have them. You ain't going to be able to use them. You ain't going to be able to protect yourself. And, you know, they're probably the people that's trying to convert our country to a socialist or communist form of government where, you know, in most of them in the world that has been today, several million people have died because they've lost their rights to defend themselves.
Absolutely. And I got a little hot water over this the other day, and I welcomed the hot water. Some of the liberal bent persuasion in this area were critical of me in my comments when I said now is the time more so than ever before to get a firearm and learn how to protect yourself and your family. Some people didn't like that. I don't care. I agree with it. I think it's the way it should be, and I'm not going to back off.
Well, Zeb, you know, there's a good way of using a firearm, and there's bad ways of using a firearm. And 99 and 9/10% of the people out there are going to use them in a good way. They aren't going to go out and rob anybody. They're not going to go out and take from others. They're not going to try and go out and hurt others. They're going to use them for either sports or self-protection. And
That's right.
Self-protection usually means they just sit there and do nothing.
That's right.
Unless something happens that they have to be used.
I like the idea that I've hired 2 business people to protect me. Their names are Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson.
And you know, you ought to get another one in there with you called him Ruger.
Oh, I forgot Mr. Colt's waiting in the wings too, Jerry.
Well, yeah, there's several of them out there that are real good people to help.
All right.
And, you know, they're wonderful people. They've never killed a person in their life.
That's right.
Probably never will.
Jerry, I appreciate your viewpoint as always. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless.
He already has. God bless you. Thank you very much. Callers, stay by. I'll be right with you. I appreciate your call. Don't forget, let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. Yes, sirree, where the fun is sold. They've got all the 4x4s. Yep, the great rebates on the Suzuki 4x4s, too. Look outside. Look at that sky. Look at the trees. Look at the colors. Look at the green grass. Oh, it's time to get outside and enjoy the great part of Idaho that it's just beautiful out there. So stop over to Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. And also, think ahead a little bit, they've got the new Timber Sled snow bikes in there too for the fun in the snow. All of this and more. Where the fun is sold, Let's Ride between Rupert and Heyburn. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, what do you think is going to happen when the backs of the taxpayers are broken and there's no money to support these welfare recipients? You're going to find an increase in crime in this country that'd be unbelievable. So you will need your guns.
Tony, there's no question about it. I mean, what they're doing, this kind of a democratic philosophy is breeding insurrection. It's breeding contempt. It's breeding a source of vile hatred towards anybody that's made a living and has got maybe a little money saved up in the bank, and they're trying to treat themselves and their families to a good life. They're breeding contempt for people that have gone and worked hard trying to succeed. I absolutely am going to do all I can to fight back against that kind of a government.
We're looking at a lawless country if we're not careful.
Oh, absolutely, and we're right there at the corner. We're right there at the intersection. If we take the wrong turn, it'll never, ever be healed. All right, Tony. God bless you, man. Thanks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, Zeb, the fact that I just heard CBS News say what a stellar performance Hillary gave You know, again, the news is supposed to be objective, and here we have the very news that sponsors this program, you know, on the hour, poisoning us.
No, wait a minute. Randy, stop. Right there. You said something that's not true.
Okay, go ahead.
You said CBS News is sponsoring this program. Not in the least.
I didn't mean that.
No, I do not, nor will I accept sponsorship from CBS News. So let's clarify that, buddy.
I'm sorry, I was inarticulate. You know how it is? You wake up, you think you got all this work to do, and you're so glad you have it. And then you think, it's a beautiful day. And then you hear the news tell us how great she did.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, God, none of those people on that stage are going to make America better, period.
Well, you know, how can they? How can they when they've got a philosophy of taking from one group of people that have worked hard and are successful and giving it to people that are lazy and don't want to work and don't want to try to excel? What kind of a society are you creating there?
Greece. And in Greece, the people are so, their souls have lost their souls to the point where they do not care how the money comes. All they want is it to come. It's just like, you know, you have a dog, and he's been outside all his life, and he runs around and does his work. You know how dogs are. And then you let it in the house.
Yeah.
And then it starts standing by the door every day, waiting for you to let it in. And it doesn't do anything but wait by the door for the chance that it might be able to come in the house, because that's all it thinks about anymore is the easy life.
Absolutely.
Instead of going out and doing something. The producers are still producing, and hopefully they're growing, but it's a scary thing.
Let me ask you one quick question here. And I don't mean to put you on the spot as asking this question, but you're on the phone. I'm going to hammer at you. Do you really care? Do you really lose sleep at night over those that are yelling and screaming, give me, give me, give me? Do you worry or care about those people?
Well, of course we didn't used to.
No. Answer yes or no.
But there's so many now that you have to be concerned because they're swaying the election.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Here's my point in asking that question. I am not going to go to bed and worry about somebody that says, I want a cell phone too. I want a new car too. I want to live in a nice new house too. Wait a minute. If you want something in this country, you have the God-given talents to get up out of the chair and go to work and earn your own. I am not going to use color as an excuse. I'm not going to use ethnicity as an excuse. I'm going to use laziness on their part for the part that they're not gaining anything.
Well, it's just become a habit.
That's right.
And some of this situation, it's generational. And it's just being fed by these, Bernie Sanders is not a socialist. He just says he's a socialist. He's a communist.
That's right.
They're all pretty much communists, really.
I agree.
Right down to it, if it'll get them reelected.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw up on the stage last night was the Five Stooges, a brand new movie. Instead of the Three Stooges, we got the Five Stooges. Randy, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry about CBS.
Oh. Okay, buddy, thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning again, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what you were saying a bit ago about if you want something, go out and work for it. That's the way that it is. And that's the way that I was raised, and you were raised, and most everybody else that I know was raised. If you want something, go out and work for it.
That's right.
Go make some money to buy it.
That's right.
Don't expect or demand, like some of these people do, that it be given to you for free. That's not the way that it works, buddy.
Amen. Amen. God bless you for calling in, and I wish more people would voice that thought. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I work hard for everything I own, and I tell you what, I'm going to try to keep it.
There you go, sir. God bless you, man. Thanks. You know, what that gentleman just said, it really brings back memories because I'm glad that my mom and dad didn't give me anything. I'm glad that they told me to get up and go to work. Now, I've run into people in this area that have come up to me and said, boy, you sure are lucky. I'm not lucky. I worked for what I attained. I was never given anything. I worked hard to try to be the best at my profession I could be. And gee, golly, by working hard and trying, good things came to me because of my diligence. I'm not trying to put myself up on a pedestal. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you. You can do the same thing. You can, if you try. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, I've got a little different take on what's going on. I believe it has a lot to do with reparations, and I don't think that Congress would approve reparations, and so they're going about it a different way to take money and power away from one class of people and give it to another.
You know something?
I think they're doing it on a national scale, and I think they're doing it on a global scale.
I am not going to argue that point at all because you bring up a point that I think is very, very sinister. There are groups of people out there that are looking at their ethnicity as part of, oh, poor us. Look what happened to us over the last 150 to 200 years. We want money. It'll cure all of our ills. I think you're absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, it's going to get to the point where it's going to cause chaos, and there's going to be a little bit of a bloodletting, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because the transfer of power is not an easy thing, never has been in history.
Let me ask you, what do you do for a living?
I work in government.
All right. Okay, fine. That's great. But now, did you have to work hard to achieve the position you have? Did you have to study? Did you get up off the couch and have to really learn to promote yourself and do diligence to get a better job and a better position?
Absolutely. It took schooling. It took a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of late hours, a lot of certifications and training. You bet.
Oh, so you mean to tell me that nobody just gave it to you? Hillary Clinton didn't stand up and wave her magic wand as the Princess of America and say, here you are, sir, we're going to give it to you.
No, I had to work my way to where I'm at, and it took a lot of work, believe me.
Now, do you understand where I'm coming from this morning as to why I'm so doggone mad about the Democrats and their absolutely asinine and stupid approach to just giving? You can't run a government that way.
Well, they've learned how to win elections, and they're not going to stop until they start losing elections.
Amen.
A lot of them, some of them don't even know what's going on. They're just going along because they found an easy way to get votes.
I agree with you.
The real problem is those behind the candidates, the ones that are actually orchestrating what's going on. And we've got some of those in the White House, some in the Pentagon, some in the State Department. There's a lot of people that are actually advocating to make things change in this country, and not for a good way, but for a bad way.
Amen.
And it's all about a transfer of power and wealth.
I agree with you, sir. Please call again. I've really enjoyed your comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you. Caller, go ahead. Good morning. I got about 3 minutes left.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I've been through a lot in my short life from my own mistakes. I've been divorced. I've lost everything I've had, and I've started building myself back with my new family. And, you know, nobody ever gave it to me.
That's
when
right.
I needed it, I found help from my friends and family, and then I paid them back, and I've worked really hard to get where I'm at.
I understand.
Formal schooling. I learned from the profession I have. I drive truck. I deal with hazardous material. I had to take the classes on my own time, you know, and I built myself back up. So when people say, well, I just can't work, I don't find that true at all. Anybody can work if they just put their mind to it.
There you go.
From fibromyalgia, and she can't work, but she watches the neighborhood kids so their parents can go to work.
Yep.
So, you know, there's this whole attitude of, well, I can't. That's horse crap. You can do whatever you can do to better yourself, even if it's watching the neighbor kids or watching somebody else's, you know, so they can go out and help. So they can make it, you know, you are being contributing to society one way or another.
Let me just say this. Let me just say, wait a minute. Let me just say this. When we were brought into this world with our birth, nobody gives us a guarantee. You don't have a guarantee from the moment you're born till the next day as to whether you're going to live or not. You don't have a guarantee that you're going to graduate with honors from high school and be a valedictorian. You don't have a guarantee that you're going to be an outstanding football or baseball player. You don't have a guarantee that you're going to make $300,000 a year, live in a nice home, and have your kids go to the best schools. There are no guarantees. And each of us takes an opportunity and we try to make the most out of it. But the government with the Democrats, and they're absolutely turned off thinking, they're saying that they're going to provide for the illegal aliens. They're going to provide for those that need free college tuitions. They're going to provide for those that need health care. No. I'm going to fight that till my last breath.
What I'd like to see them provide for our veterans who put their life on the line and actually got blown up to the point to where they can't take care of themselves.
Amen.
They won't quit.
Amen.
Or the elderly people who spend a whole life out in the field working their tail off to their hands to the bone in a factory somewhere who need extra help. I want the government to help them.
Amen.
Serve it. Not somebody who decided to come here illegally.
I agree. I got to run and do a commercial. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Well stated. Frustrating morning after and to think that we've got more debates with the Democrats. Oh, give me strength. Cameron Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. And make sure that you understand how and if or whatever you're protected. Please contact the professionals at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. They can help you, and they will help you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. You get a hold of them today. By the way, too, I want to remind you, Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with Lennox, offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, heat pump, whatever, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. There goes the trumpets on my phone again. Every time I hear that, I want to jump up and stand at attention and wave to the Queen as she drives by. Anyway, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. And Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, saving you money on Lennox. Okay, let's go to the phone lines right now. And I've been looking forward to this interview with this lady all morning, and I can't wait to hear her comments. We have with us Rachel Alexander, the senior editor at The Stream, and she has been covering all the Democrats and all the debate information from last night. Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for the intro. Appreciate being on the show.
Well, I want to just get right down to the bottom line here. I watched the debate last night, and to be quite honest with you, that wasn't a debate. That was a Democratic love fest. Everybody gathered around Hillary, and it was just a great big hug party. I thought it was pathetic and sickening. What are your thoughts?
I agree, and in fact, I was in shock because I thought going into this that Bernie Sanders was going to be kind of like Donald Trump on our side, on the other side, and I thought that he was going to clean Hillary's cloth because he's a good debater, he's smart. If he went for the jugular with her on things like Servergate and her emails, he could have won the debate. But I cannot believe what happened. I think something's going on behind the scenes where the other candidates have been warned. You shut up about Hillary's emails, you don't criticize her on them, or something bad is going to happen to you. And I think they were all terrified of her. I mean, it got even worse. First of all, you had Sanders saying nobody cares about Hillary's emails. And then one guy, Chafee, dares to pipe up and say, well, I think we need an ethical president. And the moderator turns to Hillary and says, well, do you want to respond? And she goes, no. And everybody just cheers as if they're all just going along with her and letting her move on. And I've been doing this regular column for the stream on Stargate over the last few months, and I think that I thought that it was going to derail her nomination because the scandal just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But this debate shows that they're just going to hand the nomination over to her.
You know what it was last night, Rachel, and you and I have never met formally, but I can tell already I like you and your attitude. But it was like the queen bee being in the hive, surrounded by all the worker bees, and they were fawning over her. They were looking for a place in her cabinet. It was so pathetic. Lincoln Chafee looked like an extra in a movie, and Martin O'Malley looked like he stepped out of a wax museum, and Jim Webb, my goodness, he was the only one on occasion that tried to say something different about energy in the military. But Bernie Sanders and Hillary, I thought maybe they should hold hands and go have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, the kumbaya going on was just disgusting. We didn't see that on the Republican side. And you're right. I mean, Hillary's attitude, she's so arrogant. I've got another article I'm going to be writing up today on this debate. And the thing she said, she opened up her speech saying, "I am proud and privileged." I mean, she even says stuff like that. She's so arrogant that she doesn't realize that the rest of us, little old Americans out there, we can't say things like that, and we wouldn't anyways. I'm not arrogant. I'm not going to come out and say, "I am proud and I am privileged." But yeah, I mean, that's what's going on, and I think you hit on something. My husband said that to me earlier today, too. He thinks that maybe the other candidates have been promised cabinet positions to get them to stop from attacking her.
Let me ask you this. I absolutely do not like any of the Democratic platform, but basically last night in that 3-hour debacle, it came to the forefront that we're going to give you, we're going to provide you, we're going to give this group of people this. Income inequality. We're going to take from the rich, the Robin Hood theory, and we're going to give it to the poor. It was gimme, gimme, gimme. And if that's the platform of the Democrats, God help us all.
And I mean, I even heard some things that I didn't even realize they'd gone this far. Bernie Sanders says he wants all universities to provide free tuition. Hillary reiterated that. The only thing she would qualify is she'd make people work like 10 hours a week or something. And then she had the nerve at the end. She closed her speech saying, it sounds like a copy of Ronald Reagan. She goes, "America's best days are still ahead." And I just wanted to laugh. I'm like, how can our best days still be ahead? We keep going downhill. I mean, even Bernie Sanders admitted several times that, people are struggling, people don't have jobs, the economy's gotten worse. Even under Obama, he admitted it. So I don't understand how underneath their type of leadership things are going to get any better. And I want to point out one other arrogant thing Hillary said that really irritated me. When they were asked how they would distinguish themselves from Obama's leadership, Hillary actually had the nerve to say, "I'd be the first woman president." Yeah. And I just thought, wow, that woman is so entitled. She thinks just being born a woman is an accomplishment. Whether it's Carlos Fiorina or Donald Trump as president, I don't think the gender really matters, frankly. And this woman seems to think it's an accomplishment and something that will make her an improvement over Obama.
Well, let me ask you this, Rachel, and you're closer to the pulse on this than I would be. You've written about each and every one of these people, whether it's Hillary or whether it's Martin O'Malley, Bernie Sanders, doesn't make any difference. But the other side of the coin is the general public. And my question to you is, when they start throwing out free, 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 we're going to give, we're going to provide, blank, 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 how much as a percentage of the voting public are they swaying just because of the use of the word free?
Well, it comes down to Mitt Romney's, famous, what was that, the 47%, is getting some kind of government dole benefit. Yeah. So that's a pretty huge percentage. How do you get beyond that if you're the Republicans? I mean, to me, right? I mean, they're preaching to the 47% choir, which I bet you've gone up since Mitt Romney said it. So that was over 4 years ago now. So probably over half the population's on the government dole. And how do you turn that around? I mean, I don't even have all the answers. I mean, I know one area is we need to, we're making inroads in the media. You know, I always say there's three big areas in society the left has controlled for years, and one is the legal system, two is education, and three is the media. And thank goodness we're finally making inroads in the media with, you know, talk radio and Fox News and now the social media. But to try to combat that 47%, you know, I have people say to me all the time, well, shouldn't I just go on a welfare so I can have, you know, health insurance or dental insurance? And I'm like, no, why don't you just get a job and work and support yourself? They're just used to this entitlement attitude today.
Well, there you touched on my next point of questioning with you. Many times last night it was brought up about income inequality, and they kept hammering that home about taking again from the Robin Hood theory, taking from the rich, making them pay and giving it to the poor. There's that word again, giving. The only income inequality we have in America today, and this is my own humble opinion, there are people that need help. There are people that are physically incapacitated. There are people that have had, through no problems of their own, they've reached a point in life where they need help. Yes, I'll go along with that. But I'm seeing a very increasing number across this United States, and I'm going to be very blunt, that are too damn lazy to get out and use the talents God gave them to appreciate and upgrade their life, and they're not doing anything for themselves, and they're relying on government money.
You are absolutely right. And I was a bankruptcy attorney a couple years ago for about a year and a half. And so I saw all these people filing for bankruptcy. And a lot of them were, you know, a list of who's who conservatives in Arizona, because that's who my friends are. And so I saw these different people. And I will tell you, and this was not one of my bankruptcy clients, but this is another couple I encountered. I was so appalled. This is a supposedly Republican couple, and they were playing chase with the bank. They were trying to avoid their mortgage payments, refinancing, and getting it put off. And so they've basically been living in their house, which was like a $600,000 house, without paying a mortgage for, you know, over 2 years. They had made payments, and they were on food stamps. And it just makes me so angry. These people have no kids. They're both capable of making a living, but they saw nothing wrong with keeping their $600,000 house and living on food stamps. And they had the nerve to tell me this.
Oh, my goodness. You know, there was a factor that was missing last night, and I wanted to ask you this morning, is Joe Biden going to be a candidate? Is Joe Biden going to be a supportive person of the Democratic Party? What do you think is going to happen with him? And if he does throw his hat in the ring, how is it going to change the verbiage at the next debate?
Well, I think it's a lot less likely he's going to jump to the race at this point. I thought for sure he was going to when we heard that Obama was supporting him, and it looked like Hillary was imploding. You know, he looked like the only thing that could save the day, because obviously people still think Bernie Sanders is a little too crazy socialist for a lot of the Democrats. So I was sure he was going to jump in, and I thought he would have a really good chance of beating Hillary. But now that her email scandal is being swept under the rug, I think it's a lot less likely he's going to jump in. And if he does, we are going to see an extremely competitive race. And I would not be surprised to see her, you know, the Clinton machine coming into effect and threatening him to make sure that he doesn't beat her.
Okay, now I got to be fair here this morning, and with your knowledge, I don't want to let you go without asking you this question. We saw the Democrats last night, and quite frankly, I was not impressed with any of them. None. But then, on the other hand, I watched two presidential debates with the Republicans, and some stood out. Others looked like they should have been going to wax their car. What are your thoughts about the Republicans versus the Democrats in these debates?
Yeah, I thought there were definitely some standouts on the Republican side, unlike the Democrat side. You know, I thought Trump did great, and sometimes, and other times he didn't do so great. But overall, he's such a character that I think, you know, people find him quite appealing. I thought Carly Fiorina was one of the best on the Republican side. I thought Marco Rubio did pretty well. And my favorite probably would be Bobby Jindal, even though he doesn't have much of a chance. He just can't seem to get any traction. I thought Ted Cruz did pretty well. And then a couple other people had some good zingers, like Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee, but like you said, some of them like Gilmore, you just wonder, why are you even here on the stage?
Well, now, okay, you mentioned specifically 5 names that you thought did a good job. You mentioned Trump, Fiorina, Rubio, Jindal, and Cruz. Now, nowhere in your verbiage did you say the word Bush, and I agree with you for not mentioning his name, because quite frankly, I do not want to see another Bush versus Clinton or Clinton versus Bush for the Oval Office. But is he still a viable player? Are the people that are supporting him financially, do you think that he's got still enough firepower to get the bank account and possibly shoot for the lead?
You know, several months ago, I would have said, you know, the chances were close to 90% that he was going to cinch the nomination. Now, oh boy, I mean, I've even heard rumors that he might drop out. You know, he's got even Carson ahead of him now. There's almost no way he can catch Trump. You know, I give him maybe a 20% chance at making a comeback at this point.
Okay.
He's so lackluster, and he gets up there and he debates, and he doesn't even try to sound conservative. He's already, like, debating like a liberal, like he's already got the nomination, and right now he's so far behind, that's the wrong tack to be taken.
Rachel, this morning I saw a poll that was put out by Fox News, and the poll showed Hillary matching up against Trump, against Carson, against Fiorina, etc., and it showed in every instance that Hillary, would get beat by the Republican possible nominee. What are your thoughts? Who do you think would be the strongest to take her on if she is the Democratic nominee, and who do you think would really shine in a head-to-head debate over the issues?
You know, I have to say I get worried about Trump there. I think that if he were to get the primary nomination, I think the media would crucify him over all the statements. You know, he's kind of been getting a pass so far because, you know, I think the media wants him to get the nomination, but he's going to say all these things during the general election that are going to get distorted by the media, and the average squishy middle America voter in the middle is going to turn against him. So I don't think Trump is really a strong candidate to put up against her. I think some of the other candidates that might be really strong would be, you know, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. I think Ben Carson is showing a lot of promise. I didn't think he would be doing this well, but he's being such a brand new to politics, but he's really stepped up his game. So he'd be another strong contender, and obviously Carly Fiorina. I think just putting her off against Hillary would be tremendous, because as people have pointed out, she can get away with attacking Hillary and not getting labeled as sexist, and she's done an excellent job of going after Hillary so far.
I have stated on my program many times, Rachel, that I feel, this is my own personal opinion, I feel that this election is going to be the tipping point for the United States of America, for the lasting Constitution, the lasting values of home of the free and the brave. I honestly think this election is going to be the most critical. Would you, as a writer and follower of all these different candidates, would you agree with me that we really have some trouble in River City, and it's not because the trombone player's got a sore lip?
Yeah, I do agree. And you know, when I say that about a lot of prior elections, this is the most important one yet. Well, yes, because our country keeps sinking further and further down into the abyss. And I feel like, you know, you probably agree here, under Obama, it's just been surreal. I mean, I almost feel like I'm living in the beginning of 1984.
Right.
The things that we have seen happen in the last, you know, almost 8 years have been so disturbing to me that, right, if we elect another Democrat to replace Obama, it's scary where we could go at this point. I already think it's bad enough, and I don't want to go there.
Okay, last question. After what you saw last night on the Democratic debate, if you were a handler, a consultant for any of these people, whether it's O'Malley, whether it's Sanders, whether it's Webb, whether it's Chafee, and you're going to tell them, hey, you've got to do this, that, or the other thing to be much stronger if you have any chance in the next debate, what would you tell some of those candidates?
Well, one, I would tell them they've got to go after Hillary. That's the candidate they have to beat, because, they obviously haven't. Chafee's the only one who had any nerve, and his voice was shaking the whole time, and he did such a mediocre performance that it didn't really help him much. I would also tell them they really should sound more patriotic. I mean, you bring up a really good point. Everyone can talk about is how we just need more money for this handout versus this handout and take money away from this group. They really should be a little more inspiring and talk about, the greatness of America. I would think that some Democrats at least still might want to hear that.
I agree with you. You've got to promise me you'll come back, Rachel. I've absolutely enjoyed our visit. Senior editor of The Stream, Rachel Alexander, you're welcome here anytime. God bless you, and I'll call in the future and have you back.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Very nice lady. And I'm going to put her on my A-list this morning, that I will make sure that we contact her and have her back. Excellent conversation about... That was, honestly, did you see it? If you didn't see it, I know it's not fair to comment on it. But that was the biggest waste of time and television resources that I have ever seen last night. It was, like I said, nothing more than a... kissy, kissy, kissy love fest. Oh, they should have all come out on the stage holding flowers and just kind of arm in arm. Oh, my gosh. It was sickening. Calm down, Zeb. Time for the weather. And the weather is brought to you this hour by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. And, of course, time to trim all your trees, prune all your trees, and get rid of those tree limbs that all of a sudden with a high wind in winter might come crashing through your window. Get rid of them! And don't forget, it's also time to blow out those sprinkler systems so they don't freeze up this winter. You call Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485 or 431-8733. And now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we make our way through the work week, and it's going to be beautiful for today. Sunny skies, high of 80, expect an overnight low of 44. Tomorrow, maybe a few clouds, slightly breezy, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. Back up to 8 for Friday. Saturday, clouds are going to be rolling in, temperature dropping down to about 73. We do have a slight chance of rain showers on Saturday. But then for Sunday, winds are picking up. We do have a chance of rain showers, high of 64 with an overnight low of 41. And for Monday, sunny skies, windy, high of 63. Yesterday's high was 85. Sunset tonight at 6:54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I wished I didn't have to be indoors today and tomorrow. It's going to be beautiful. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service bringing you the weather this hour. Thank you, Scott and the crew. Call them for all your tree trimming and pruning and blowing out your sprinkler systems. My goodness, they're good. 438-2485. 431-8733. This is a commercial / personal opinion, and I'm combining both these together because I've said it before on this air, and I'm going to say it again. I honestly believe that today, now, this time frame in our history, etc., is more important than ever before to make sure that you have some means of protecting yourself and your family. And that's why I am a big advocate of you stopping into Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And if you've never owned a firearm before, now's a good time to go in and talk to them about what would best fit you. They have all the new firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, Winchester, all the ammunition, all the accessories, but they've got something else too. They've got top quality people that know all about firearms. Great customer service. Since 1936 in historic Old Town Twin Falls, Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin. You stop in and see them today. You know, and again, I don't care if you live in a rural area. I don't care if you live in town. I think it behooves you to perhaps check into concealed weapons permits. I think it behooves you to check into the learning of the proper use of a firearm, all the safeties, everything that you should know. But I absolutely will stand behind, and I couldn't care less about the criticism on these remarks. I think now more than ever before, we need to be cognizant that our police forces cannot be everywhere at the drop of a hat. The bad guys are out there. The bad guys want to do everything they can to be bad guys. And we need to protect ourselves and our family. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. There was a lady, and I want to compliment her. Her name was Gladys Smith, and she lives in Twin Falls. And if you get a chance to read this morning's Times News, and the Times News and I, we kind of butt heads together. But when they put something in the paper that I agree with and I like, I'm going to give it kudos. Well, this letter from Gladys Smith of Twin Falls, this lady hit the nail on the proverbial head. And it's a letter about Turn Back America. And basically, she could have used the phrase that I use on my program, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And everything she wrote in that letter about going to church as a family and sitting down at the dinner table as a family and inviting God back into our lives, everything, it was a beautiful letter. And if anybody knows Gladys Smith in Twin Falls, I certainly hope you'll tell her that I was very complimentary to her and her letter. And I just wish more people like Gladys would write letters about how good things can be and what we need to do to change them to get back to some decency in this country. It was an excellent, excellent letter. Thank you, Gladys, and God bless you. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. You better believe it, Rupert, Heyburn, and Burley. Since 1949, every detail matters, parts sales and service. Their locations and Rupert at 323 East 8th Street, Highway 25, and in Burley, 518 Overland, and the Big Truck Center at I-84 Exit 211, over in Heyburn. These are folks that really know automobiles. These are folks that know all about parts sales and service. Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. And the Scow's Answer Man will be on our program on Mondays, and we appreciate Jeff Poole for all he does. All of a sudden, something blocked out the sun. There was a huge shadow in the room. Oh, it's not an eclipse. Well, it might as well be. It's Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game throwing papers at me. I'm going to turn the microphone on for a minute. How you doing this morning?
Just grand.
Are you grand?
Grand.
What makes you grand this morning?
You know, I'm going to take a couple days off and go chase deer.
Oh, so that makes you feel grand?
This is like my last hoorah before I take off.
Really? So this is the last hoorah?
Well, you know, I've got to do a little more stuff tonight, but I'll get out of here tomorrow.
So now where are you going? I want to alert the public so they can be on standby alert.
To the mountains.
You're going to the mountains. You haven't shaved for a couple days either, have you?
Just a couple.
Uh-huh. I know.
You got to get that woolly look.
Yeah, you've got that Daniel Boone over the next mountain look.
There you go.
Yeah. So you're going to go deer hunting?
Yep, take my kids, so it'll be a fun day.
And you're all going to camp up there?
Yep.
Uh-huh. And who's going to do the cooking?
Probably me.
Are you a cook?
Well, it's not much to cook in camp food when you open a can of chili or open a can of stew.
Quite frankly, helicopters coming up into the mountains to remove people that have, intestinal problems is a little tough.
Yeah, no, if we get something, we'll fry up some tenderloin and onions.
Now wait a minute. You're talking about onions. That's my favorite food.
You know, especially a little bit of venison tenderloin mixed in with a little Cajun spice.
Maybe you can cook.
Well, you don't get this shape by not knowing how to to cook.
Chef Boyar Hatch.
And there you go.
Yeah. Well, what are we going to talk about on Fish and Game Report this morning?
You know, a lot about hunting season.
Really?
About what's going on, and we'll do a fishing roundup, and just talk about what we're seeing out there.
You know, you're kind of like that fishing expert with the Fish and Game that never took me fishing. You've never invited me to go hunting either.
Yeah, well,
is there a reason for that?
Just pick your friends carefully.
No. Well, that's better than your nose.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
But right now,
I got all the stats from the check stations opening weekend, so that'll be kind of fun.
Just real quick before I send it to the news, how are things looking?
Really good.
Really good.
Tremendous. They're fat and sassy.
And lots of them.
Lots of them.
Okay. And what about the elk and the moose?
You know, the moose season has been going on. Things have been going really well. And elk, they're one behind every tree right now.
All of the other.
Yeah, things are really, this is the good old days. I mean, you're really seeing a lot of critters out there.
And you're going to go up there and try to fill your larder.
Fill my larder. Okay. I just hope my kids can get something, you know.
Okay.
You know, some of our general units are pretty tough right now still, just because of the amount of people. We're almost sold out of elk tags.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, how many kids are you going to take with you?
Just dose.
Just one?
Two. Uno's one.
I see.
Dose is two.
Well, see, I'm only concentrating my efforts on English.
Okay.
See you next hour.
Sounds good.
Okay, got to run. Zeb at the Ranch. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch with Zeb Bell. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. Here's the news from CBS. I better say something or Damon will think I fell asleep. Good morning. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our great advertisers like Western Waste Services. Way to go, Kelton. Great balancing act. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them. Get on the route service 734-6969. Along with our friends at the Valley Country Stores in Jerome, Buell, Gooding, Wendell, Shoshone, Bellevue, and 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at your Valley Country Stores. Oh boy, listen to this. Now, I bet you Kelton, being a worldwide traveler, maybe he knows what this is. The Chadwick Sports Grill in Burley at 139 West Main in Burley. Here is their special for today. They are going to have chicken shawarma. I don't think I said that right. Chicken shawarma. It's a Middle Eastern dish, and it sounds really good. Chicken shawarma. Say that, Kelton. Shawarma.
Shawarma.
Very good.
Never heard of it.
Well, it's delicious. Served with red cabbage and carrot salad on pita bread. Oh, yeah. You're going to love it. All the menu choices at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Chicken shawarma. Would you stop playing with all the toys on the studio desk?
Why do you have them here? So I can play with them so I don't bend the cords.
That's right.
Okay,
you drive me completely nuts with the way you keep bending the cords all the time. If Jerry Thaxton, the engineer, was here, he would take a baseball bat that's in that corner, that old Hilrig Bradsby, and he would thump you on the forehead. How are you?
You know, pretty good.
Oh,
pretty good. Can't complain.
Well, it wouldn't do any good here.
No, it wouldn't. It would just cause more pain.
More angst.
Yeah, more angst. Oh, really? I'm sorry. Yeah,
You've never been sorry in your life, you bearded one, you. You're trying to play Grizzly Adams this morning or something?
You know, for a couple days, I get to grow the beard.
Right. Does the Fish and Game have a policy about you looking ugly?
No, my wife does.
I see. What about the Fish and Game? Busy time of the year.
Wow, we're just a hopping.
Just
a hopping. You know, it's tough to try to squeeze a day or two in to go out and do something yourself during this time of year. You know, last weekend was working check stations.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a feast or famine type weekend. You know, you're sitting there and thinking about being out hunting, and
you just haven't been worth a hoot over there at that office.
It's well, no, I get my work done, but I do a little daydreaming on the way to and on the way home.
Yeah, 6'4", and you walk with your eyes closed.
Yeah, daydreaming. So, but no, been getting out doing quite a bit of bird hunting so far.
Really, have you got anything?
Oh yeah, birds have been really good this year.
Good.
You know, been over.
So you're trying to tell us that you're a pretty good shot?
No. I didn't say that. I said I've gotten some. I didn't say how many rounds I'd fired to get them.
I see. Kind of like me with the swallows that were in my yard.
Yeah.
Something
a
like
box
that.
per bird or something.
It was more than that.
Ouch. Well, I can say I'm a better shot than that.
Yeah, but anyway, general deer season opening weekend. Now, it started, on the 5th, right?
It started, South Hill started on the 5th. That was a controlled hunt. So all our controlled hunts started on the 5th. But our general hunts, like over in 56 and 43 and 53 and some of these other areas, they opened this last Saturday.
I see.
And we had a bunch of people out there. But I was going to go through the stats for you. We had 4 check stations this last weekend. Littlewood, right there in the mouth below Littlewood Reservoir. Yeah. We checked 178 hunters.
178?
178 hunters, 35 deer.
35 deer.
So it was at 20% harvest success out
wow.
there. And so that's about exactly what we did last year. We killed a lot of good bucks, so is it 58% of those bucks.
Now, what area was that in, Kelton?
49.
And that's up at Featherville,
above
right?
Cary.
Above Cary.
This is 49. Yep.
Okay.
No, that's fine. And, about 60% of those bucks were 4-point or better. And so it was a good opener.
Wow.
Gooding check station, we checked 272 hunters in the 2 days. We had 35 total harvest, and that was our lowest harvest success. Last year, there had to have been something going on there because we had really good harvest success coming out of those check stations and those units, and I don't know why that one was down so low, but that only put us at about 13%. Last year was a little over 20, but there's no reason other than just bum luck for some of those folks up there. But go on.
Let me ask you a question here about the deer hunting in general. I would imagine, now we've talked about this in the past, a couple of years ago I remember on a program, when the weather was, and it's been quite warm.
Oh, it's horrible. It's 85 degrees up there on Saturday.
Tell everybody in the audience about the precautions necessary. If they do get a deer, boy, they've got to get that meat taken care of.
Well, you do. You need to get the hide off of it quick. The thing that I always tell people, or I try to do myself, is, get them skinned, get them quartered, and get them hung in dark timber.
Right.
If you can get down by a creek and get them in some dark pines, even if it's 80 degrees outside, it's going to be, you'll want a jacket in the trees this time of year. Because you get down there and it'll drop down to 35, 40 degrees. If you're a long ways from trees, still get the hide off of it, get it bagged. I would even recommend taking the bone out just so it doesn't bone sour, and then get it to a cooler and get ice on it.
Now, I want to ask you about the time frames. Let's say that you shoot a deer at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
On a day like we've had recently, where the temperatures have been, even up in the hills, probably in the 70s.
Yeah, it's tough when it's
How long
hot.
do you have to get that meat taken care of before something starts to go awry?
There's so many factors. If you can get wind blown across it, if you can get it in some shade, the biggest thing is getting the hide off and getting the bone out of it. I've never killed a deer that late in the afternoon. Typically, if I can't get one killed before 11 to noon, I'm going to take some time off and not start hunting until about 3 again, 3:30, just so that we have that evening cool. Right now, the best bet is kill it at daylight and get it out, or shoot it in the evening and get it, because then as soon as the sun goes down, it cools off nice. But
do you find that a lot of first time, or maybe they've only been hunting maybe 2 or 3 years, they really don't understand the seriousness of taking care of that meat?
Well, you see a lot of that even with season. Sometimes and I understand why some people do it. I hunt with a backpack frame, so that if I kill a deer that I can break it down right there, load it in meat sacks, throw it in my backpack, and go like the devil.
I see.
You can break a deer down in a half hour, 45 minutes at max. To get it all loaded in a backpack, a deer by itself, you're looking at maybe, if you bone it out, you're only looking at about 70 pounds.
Okay, now I had a caller last week, and it was after the program, and they had moved in here from Pennsylvania into this area, and they were avid hunters and fishermen back in the eastern part of the country, and they were saying, that they didn't really know that much about deer hunting and how to take care of the meat and everything. Are there classes or videos put out by the Fish and Game that teach people this?
We do. We have some videos online that people can go to at fishandgame.idaho.gov. And we also have some, if you don't have a computer, you can come by and check out a DVD or VHS. We have some on how to dismantle a game animal, basically after you've harvested it, so that you can preserve the meat. And, it's and there's just a lot of stuff online, too. If a person just sits down and takes some time on, field dressing game animals.
Yeah.
But so there's information out there. Yeah, big thing is just being prepared enough to be able to take care of it.
Yeah.
Having a still, having a sharp knife, having some meat sacks, having a good backpack frame, and things like that, so you can get it taken down. I mean, a lot of times we have deer come through the check station that they've drugged them so far that there's no hair left on the one side. I would hate to think I had to drag a deer that far, because that takes some country to eat it up.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these guys are saying, we're dragging them a mile and a half.
Ooh.
There's a story I was talking. I mean, a few years back, I was up hunting the Frank Church, and riding up a canyon, was going to set up a spike camp up, and could smell something dead, and I was sitting here riding along, and all of a sudden this guy comes running up the trail, and he's waving his arm, "Can I get some help? Can I get some help?" And I'm sitting here going, he says, "I killed an elk 3 days ago." Well, he was trying to drag it out whole. And he hadn't drug it very
3 days?
And I says, I'm really sorry. I would love to help you, but there's no use in hauling that meat out.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
And this is before I worked for the department.
And he had no idea.
Well, he knew he had to try to recover all the game meat and stuff like that. He just wasn't prepared enough, to be able to. I says, you got to get that hide off, break it down. But, I mean, it was so rancid that it wasn't,
Oh, my.
And things like that happen. And so try to be prepared enough.
So he went by himself? He didn't have any hunting buddies or anything?
He was just new to the area.
Oh, boy.
He was from back east. Somewhere, Georgia down south or somewhere like that. But, he was used to hunting whitetail. He was used to hunting them on plots of land where they can drive to and load them up and get them out. And, he's in good shape, so he'd hike to the top of the mountain and killed an elk. Then he just didn't realize that you needed another horse or something to get him out.
That's a shame because it's a waste.
It is. It's also, you learn. I'm sure he's a lot better sportsman now, because he learned from his early mistakes, and so But the big thing is just being prepared. It's hot out there, and so fortunately this weekend it sounds like I think Gina was saying earlier on the report that it sounds like it might rain on Saturday or Sunday,
and a drop in temperatures to where they're looking in the 60s, which would put it possibly in the 40s up in the hills.
Oh yeah, during the day, daytime high, and so you'll be freezing at night, and so things next week are really going to be a lot better for big game hunting. And for a big old guy like me, because I sweat just thinking about walking.
You sweat when you come in here.
Well, I know. You make me nervous.
Yeah, well, look at what you do to me with all my electrical cords and everything. But in general, you're very satisfied on behalf of the Fish and Game as to what's happening.
Oh, you bet. I was going to show you. I mean, we checked 933 hunters, 161 deer at another check station, 423 hunters, and 122 deer. So that's a 30% harvest success.
Wow.
And so for general seasons, 56 has been pretty rough over here. There's just a lot of people down there. It's been hot.
The 56 is
just on the other side of Sublette.
Okay.
Down in that area. And, I anticipate during the week it being a lot better over there, because you just don't have that weekend pressure. And this weekend it should be even better. And so we've got a ton of people that are back into hunting, though, that are interested. We've got are, compared to last year, we're up almost 20%.
That's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it is, financially in some ways, but the other thing that makes me really concerned is, and we talk about this all the time, what is the carrying capacity of hunters? I mean, we know we have the deer there because we see the number of fawns and deer that are surviving and stuff like that, but it's just where you can tolerate the crowds in some of our general units.
What about the danger factor?
And there's always that, too.
Have you had any reports of wackos up there?
We haven't. There was an injury, a kid that was injured in Utah, killed in Utah during a hunting accident this last week, which was really sad. And so that's just another thing, just to be cautious. Alcohol and firearms don't mix.
No.
And there's no problem with folks enjoying one at night if that's their taste, but try to maintain on the mountain when you're hunting, and just always be cautious. Make sure you know what's downrange. I just hate to hear accidents like that because, I'm taking my kids up this week, and it's just a ball just to spend time alone, one-on-one with your kids in the hills, setting, hiking and sweating and looking around and.
Yeah, and what about the hunter orange? Are most hunters really being cognizant about wearing hunter orange?
Nobody is, hardly.
Why?
I don't know. There's some people feel that they can sneak up on them better in camo. Guess what? Deer colorblind guys, wear your orange for your safety. I mean, I bird hunt all the time with an orange hat on, because I don't want one of my partners shooting me. I want them to see that orange, and I have an orange vest. When I go deer hunting, I've big game hunted my entire life. An orange vest does not. Yeah, if you look like a pumpkin and you got an orange hat, orange jacket, orange pants, orange gloves, and you're flashing around, yeah, you look. But if it's a broken pattern, that orange looks no different than quaking aspen leaves shaking in the wind if it's a broken pattern, where you got a camo orange or something like that. But that orange, for 95% of us, that aren't colorblind, that really is, we can pick it up and it makes you a lot safer out there. But no, we noticed that this last week at the check stations that I bet 80% of the folks that came through are in camo.
I don't understand that. I don't even go up in the South Hills on my four-wheeler without wearing orange.
No, and I mean, I might put orange on my kids. I wear orange, and it's just, I want to come home.
Absolutely. Wear orange. What about the other hunting seasons? Pheasant's about ready to start, isn't it?
This Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
This Saturday. I'll be over to shoot. I saw 2 or 3 in your backyard.
I know. No, you didn't. Not in my backyard.
I was baiting you.
But you know what? That's not so funny, though, because I know there are some out there in that field way behind me.
Way behind you,
Yeah.
And so the big thing is before, and I always like touching on this, Zeb, is talk to landowners. 95% of our pheasants are on private property.
Yep.
If you want to get out and hunt chickens, you needed to be talking to sportsmen, or you need to get a hold of them now. Talk to them, make plans, visit with them. Trespassing rules. If it is cultivated, they don't need to post it. If it is a canal, they don't need to post it. The landowner owns to the middle of the canal or the lateral.
I see.
They pay property taxes, just like you pay to the middle of Highway 30 out here in front of your place. You pay to the middle of that. They've got a right-of-way for the road, so they put it through. The only people that have a right-of-way on the canals are the canal department and the farmer that owns the land.
Right.
And so you have to get permission to drive those canal roads. Those aren't open to the public. Landowners, if they have a piece of sagebrush ground or something that they want to post, it has to be posted with either the top 18 inches of a steel post painted every 1/8 of a mile, or it has to be 100 square inches of orange.
I see.
And it has to be put at all access points and every 1/8 of a mile. But if you see any of this guys out there, just avoid it. Find out who owns the land, talk to them. If you're just dying and you have to get on there, but we're very blessed in this part of Idaho. Idaho is 68% public land.
Yep.
And so there's lots and lots of places for us to go hunt. I know everybody gets fixated on one or two little places because they know every elk or every deer in the county snuck in there because it's a piece of private, but that's not true. There's maybe some game in there, but there's lots of game outside of it, too.
Well, let me ask you this, and by the way, calls are welcome at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We talked about the pheasants just a moment ago, but my goodness, the other morning, what we like to do, I know we sound a little weird to you because you're still sleeping, but we get up at 3:45 in the morning.
You beat me up by about 45 minutes.
Okay, and a lot of times we'll finish with a little cup of coffee and breakfast and working out and coming in the office, and then we'll go out and sit on the sun deck, even though it's in the dark. And the other morning, I've never heard and or seen so many geese flying over my head as they were kind of circling around Murtaugh Lake.
Yeah, there's
wow.
The whole valley, we've been seeing geese from Burley, Rupert, Paul, clear down into Coldwater. Lots of birds coming in this year. The waterfowl opens this weekend also.
Yeah.
And so...
is that ducks and geese?
Ducks and geese, you bet. And so get out there and have some fun. This is the time of year you wait for if you're a sportsman or a hunter, and Thanksgiving just around the bend, so you can get you some game.
Hard to believe.
Well, I know. It just goes so fast.
Yeah, really. So in other words, the fishing game is really happy happy with the waterfowl pheasants and the deer.
The deer, deer numbers are looking really good this year. We anticipate one of our highest harvests in probably the last 15 years.
Okay, to what do you attribute it to? Better habitat or what?
There's a couple things. The increase on the elk numbers, we've had enough fires that it has made more grazable ground, more grass, got rid of more brush, and things like that, which elk thrive on. So elk numbers have really gone through the roof. Deer, the biggest contributing factor to deer is we've just had nice wet springs, and we've had really, really mild winters.
Really? Okay.
The fires do affect deer in an opposite direction if you have a hard winter, because, they are browsers. They need high-protein forbs and things like that in order to survive. And so we've just had really mild winters. Was it like 90 fawns per 100 does this year? A growing population, like I've said before, is around 48 fawns per 100 does. If you're even that, it sounds really low. But you see, does, like if I have 100 does, typically I'll get 160 fawns out of those.
Right.
So even on a really, really, really good year, 60 or nearly a third or more than a third of those animals are going to die. That's just the way nature is. Typically on a year, though, we'll only have 40%, so we'll have almost 100 fawns die out of 100 does, that are have there, and we'll have 45 to 50% of those fawns. 45 to 50 fawns per 100 does. It's just the way nature is. And so we've been in that 80 to 92, I think, was the high survival rate that we could calculate from fawn collars and stuff like that we've had out there over the last 5 years. And so numbers are through the roof.
Okay, let me ask you this final question. What's the season?
No, sorry.
Yeah, quiet. What's the season like for 54, 55, and some of these other units? What's the termination dates on a lot of those?
The last day of the month.
Of October.
And then we'll kick into our late ruts.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
We got a few late hunts. We've been... I really think some of those late
asked him to be the representative to come on this show for the fishing game. What's up, Doc?
Yeah, well, I got tongue twisted there. I'm so excited.
I can tell. You're ready to get out of here.
I am. No, I really anticipate we've had some just tremendous animals harvested this year. We had, anybody that studies Boone and Crockett points and things like that, we had a couple of bucks pushing that 200-inch BNC on general hunts killed this last week.
Wow.
Just smoking big bucks, 32, 34 inches wide, long tines. Had a little girl come through that was 11 years old. She killed a deer that was... 28 inches wide, about 170-inch Boone and Crockett point, a little bigger than the one you killed.
But now,
at 4x5, nice buck.
Absolutely. But they've had some really excellent elk and moose come out of here too.
Oh, we have. We have. Yeah. I mean, the moose could possibly be a new world archery record, and the other rifle elk. Well, both of those moose, 2 of those moose that came out of there this year should be in the top 20 in BNC.
Well, I have right here in my hand, as soon as I can find it, the picture that I wanted to show you. Here is Jake's, my son's elk that he shot with a bow and arrow. Look at that.
Hey, that's awesome.
Look at that.
Awesome. Great bull, great bull.
He had hunted for 9 days.
Yeah.
His wife and his 2 boys were going to meet him up at the camp, and they were all going to come home together, and he walked 300 yards down the road and got him on the last day.
That's awesome.
Yep, it is.
That's awesome.
Well, we're going to take a little break, and by the way, your calls are welcome, and we're going to be talking about landowner courtesy. We probably will go back to game care and talk a little bit about waterfowl and pheasants and everything, and other topics coming up on the Fish and Game Report with Kelton Hatch. So
Kevin, call with their question.
Yeah, come on, give us a call, 436-2244. We'll send it back to Wheels and be back here in about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I got a bug. There's a bug here someplace. You know that? Have you seen any bugs flying around? Oh, I got to turn your mic on. Maybe the bug's in your mic.
I haven't seen any bugs.
I'm not kidding you. A bug landed on top of my head a little bit ago. Where'd he go?
You ever heard of schizophrenia?
Yeah. And you know what? There's good reason with you here in the studio. I'll tell you that. Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game. Let's go back to a subject that we were talking about just a moment ago, game care. I think maybe you'd like to elaborate on waterfowl and pheasant also.
Well, all game birds, there's a lot of different methods. The Europeans, when they shoot a pheasant, they take a wire and tie it around the pheasant's head, leaving all the internal organs in it, and then they just hang it until the head rots and the animal it falls to the ground.
Are you being serious?
I am.
And they eat it?
They do. They won't eat them until it rots through the flesh. And
you've made a lot of friends close to lunch, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you the different ways here, Zeb. Personally myself, I don't do that. I try to get the internal organs out soon thereafter it dies.
Yeah, please.
And then I get it in my game bag, and I try to get it cooled off.
There you go.
Because
with the Europeans.
I'm not into the softening of the meat, like that.
Why did that make my nose wrinkle up?
Well, because you're just thinking about the whole deal.
I am.
But I am I use my a pounder, one of those meat tenderizer hammers on most of my pheasants,
and
too.
As big as you are with a meat tenderizer hammer, Lord help us all.
Yeah, well, it's tender, I can tell you that, buddy. I pound those out, slice them thin, or just fry them up. They're really tasty. But I try to get
pheasant sees you don't have to shoot him. He falls over dead from fear.
That's better. That way I don't have to dig out buckshot. But with all my game birds, especially when it's hot like this, get them cooled off, get their internal organs out of them, get them cooled off. When it gets cold, it's not as necessary to get them. It's kind of miserable if you're hunting for some. If you haven't got water nearby, you got blood on your hands and stuff from cleaning them. But once it cools off, I don't do it until I get a little bit later because they cool off anyway. Sure. But waterfowl's the same way. There's a lot of. That's one thing I always like is different recipes for waterfowl. Because some people, you either really like waterfowl or you don't. Really? A lot of people call geese flying livers. I call sharp-tail, sage-grouse geese. They're all flying livers. The meat's really dark because they're a long-distance athlete. They fly long distances. And
I love that TV commercial. Have you ever seen that one? I think it's for Verizon, where the goose turns and looks at the camera.
I haven't.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That was fun to bring up.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But, if you get those, you can flay the breasts off of them and cook them on a barbecue grill. Have you ever had goose?
Oh, yeah, many times.
One of my favorite ways is to take a full goose breast, make sure you got all the buckshot out
used
of
to
them.
play the game, too. Goose,
duck, goose.
Yeah.
You got to name the game first, Zeb. But then you put it on the barbecue grill. Just cook it like 2-3 minutes.
On the Barbie.
A couple minutes on each side. Flip it over, then slice it thin, and pour a little barbecue sauce on it, and set it on there for just about another 3 to 5 minutes under tin foil.
Good.
And it's still pink in the middle.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Oh my.
It's really good.
You can cook.
Oh, you bet. I do most of the big game cooking in the house. My wife cooks anything else. She's a really good cook.
So you're telling me that if you don't get a deer the next couple of days with your kids, you're going to starve to death?
No, she'll just be cooking all the rest of the year.
Oh, your wife's going up?
No, she cooks if I don't. I cook game meat, and so she cooks everything else. So if we kill,
I heard her say one time you're a little gamey.
I am. Yeah. There's more than that. So it's either I get to help cook this year, or if we kill something, and if not, she does all the cooking for the year.
Now you kind of touched on this a little bit in the last segment, but landowner courtesy, and I think we should highlight that one more time.
Yeah, well, I just the other night I went out to the Magic Valley Cattle Association board meeting over in Eden and talked with them about some different things, and they're the ones that asked me to bring up the canals and things like that, the irrigation canals trespassing issues, because that's one thing that's really frustrating to them as landowners is most folks aren't opposed to letting people hunt their property. If you get permission or talk to them, there's some cases they are because they've got 3 or 4 kids themselves. They've got uncles and aunts and cousins that all come and hunt. And so that's another reason they post their property. But the biggest single reason most people post their property is because they get there and people clean their trucks out.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman I was talking to the other day. He classifies shotgun hulls or the casing as garbage. So do I. Some sportsmen don't. And so that's just another thing to keep in mind if you're out hunting game birds or waterfowl. Pick up your empties.
Amen.
Amen. I guess you need to treat it like it's your own backyard. I mean, if I've got, I wouldn't want people four-wheeling through my backyard, digging ruts in my grass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want people building a pond fire and burning their pop cans and soda cans and beer cans in there and leaving them. I wouldn't want them cleaning their truck out in my backyard. And so that's the best thing to do is when you're on other people's property or on BLM, which is everybody's ground, Forest Service, don't litter. I mean,
Amen.
Clean it up. If you can pack it in, you can pack it out.
That's one of my pet peeves is why people have to throw garbage on the ground.
It just kills me because it was okay when it was full.
Yeah.
Because we was hauling it up there, whatever it was. But then we take the candy bar out of the wrapper and we throw the little itty-bitty wrapper out that's, not even inch by an inch.
Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You're an avid outdoorsman, and you're with other sportsmen all the time. What do you find as far as the number one pet peeve from sportsmen to other sportsmen?
Number one, that's a tough one. Most of the time it's just in being non-courteous.
What do you mean by that?
Like we had some guys the other day that were stalking a deer, were really close. They spotted these other hunters. The other hunters were like 400, 500 yards away, and these guys were 100 yards away. They're trying to get a kid set up on a deer to harvest this deer.
Right.
Well, these guys at 400 yards start blazing away at the deer.
Oh, really?
Granted, it's anybody's deer.
Now, did they have the excuse that they couldn't see the other hunters?
No, they could see him working across the side hill.
Yeah.
And so it was like they started shooting just because they knew the other hunters were closer and were going to get there and be able to get a shot before, and they wanted the deer. I guess treat others the way you want to be treated.
The golden rule.
The golden rule is kind of like that letter you was talking about from the Times News. You was talking about, we just need to get back to those basic human niceties, I guess.
Well, you know, besides trying to shoot a deer that they're already, like you said, stalking, what are some of the other things that are just flat rudeness to other sportsmen?
You know, the other thing that we see is we've actually had fist fights for fishing.
Are you kidding me?
You know,
for fishing?
For a fishing rock, people for steelhead. We've actually got videos online right now on YouTube on fishing etiquette, because up around Riggins and some of those places, we've had to have the police come in, or our officers have had to arrest people for battery, for assault, because they get... We're just getting, I don't know, people are just getting more aggressive. And
so you're telling me that if you're going to go fishing up at Riggins or whatever, you got to take Evander Holyfield with you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Holy smokes.
And it's sad that society's getting that way. I think what we're seeing is Idaho's changing. I get really frustrated myself. I keep telling my wife I've got to move somewhere further out in the country because it's just too crowded. You know, I don't like to be around a lot of people, and I think that's what a lot of people, they get 1 or 2 days off, they want to go catch a fish, they want to go kill a deer, they want to do these things, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else there, and it's competition. It's no different than road rage or rush hour traffic in Boise, where people are cutting people off. You see the same types of things, and I guess that's the thing that we hear from other sportsmen, is just people being inconsiderate.
Well, you know, I can relate to that story about the fishing somewhat, because this has been 10, 12 years ago. Jake and I were fishing, and I won't say where, but we were fishing on the bank at a location, and he caught a fish. Well, then all of a sudden, these two fishermen from probably 300, 400 yards away, saw him bring that fish in, and they literally came over and sat down less than 10 feet from where we were and threw their lines right in where our lines were. And I was about ready to throw both of them in the water.
Yeah,
that's as rude as it can be.
It's frustrating, but we get that type of activity all the time.
Really?
That doesn't surprise me at all. You know, and that's the thing. You know, that's one of the reasons that. Well, this year, in some of the areas, we've been getting more people into the backcountry where people are getting off. You know, ATVs are always an issue in some areas because, and that's one of the reasons, I mean, I know it's a very controversial subject, and you get some people that walk in, you know, 3 or 4 miles, and then somebody else comes up by them in an ATV. And I understand.
Yeah, but I got to have an ATV.
And I understand that, Zeb. I do. I understand that. But to some people, it's tough because they don't have one.
I understand.
And, you know, and that's the thing is there's just a lot of people trying to use a public resource. And I guess the thing is try to, you know, try to turn the other cheek or try to do the right thing. And try not to get competitive. Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I see. The biggest issue that I see is people, you know, you'll be driving up a canyon and you're going down a road and it's early in the morning, and then somebody will dive in front of you, come off a side road, trying to get in front of you because they want to beat you to the spot. Well, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
I noticed that when I asked you where you were going deer hunting, you deflected the answer to that question and didn't give me any kind of an answer whatsoever.
You know, I did. I said the mountains.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, there's a couple spots. I spend hours at night on the computer finding locations with no roads.
Really?
And and I try to get to those locations at like 4 in the morning, and then I start hiking from there, and then I try to get to a ridge so that when I wake up, if I've done my homework, I'm the only one for a couple 3 miles.
There you go.
And that's what I am in search of. Fortunately, I'm in physical condition that I can do that.
Yeah. You know, you weren't a couple of months ago. You lost some weight.
I did. I was in pretty rough shape. After that
you looked really, you know, kind of like the Pillsbury Doughboy there for a while, but it wasn't your fault. I mean, you had health problems.
Well, I had that shoulder surgery, and I put on about 35, almost 40 pounds over the time of that.
That much?
Yeah, I hate to say it, I was feeling sorry for myself.
Really?
You know, I was feeling
little bitty Kelton.
Yeah, I was feeling old is what was happening. It was.
What are you now, 48?
52, almost 53.
You're 52?
I am.
Oh, you look pretty well preserved.
Well, yeah.
Somebody passed the formaldehyde.
Well, I embalm myself, but no, and so I kind of got a little bit, eating too many chips.
Oh, woe was me.
Eating way too many M&Ms and drinking too much soda. So I've just cut the soda out, cut the chips out, or eat a few now.
I noticed that your wife was telling about the added expense of having to put overload shocks on your pickup.
Yes, on my shoes. No, I've lost almost 45, 50 pounds.
Good for you. I've lost right at 30.
And so, it makes me feel better. So I get back up and get hiking.
You know what the greatest gratification is? And as far as us that are Western people that wear Western clothing, is knowing that when you put those Wranglers on, there is hope that they are going to come together with that bronze button.
Well, it's always nice that the button actually hooks and you don't have to run the zipper at half mast.
There you go.
With a big belt buckle in front of it. No.
Hey, we got to get the weather in here. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are your hometown meat cutter. Locally owned and custom meat processor for over 20 years. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time, and they guarantee everything they sell. Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew serving you. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we make our way through the work week, and it's going to be beautiful for today. Sunny skies, high of 80, expect an overnight low of 44. Tomorrow, maybe a few clouds, slightly breezy, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45, back up to 8 for Friday. Saturday, clouds are going to be rolling in, temperature dropping down to about 73. We do have a slight chance of rain showers on Saturday, but then for Sunday, winds are picking up. We do have a chance of rain showers, high of 64 with an overnight low of 41. And for Monday, sunny skies, windy, high of 63. Yesterday's high was 85. Sunset tonight at 6:54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
All right, Gina, thank you very much. Brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Kelton, I'm going to add something to the list here this morning, and I want to talk to you about it, and I think our listeners would like to hear, too. I have said 2 years ago, you heard me on this program say that when I had drawn up in Unit 54, that all of a sudden we found a great big wolf track. And a lot of people criticize me, oh, that's not a wolf track, there's no wolves up there. Last couple of days, there's been quite a few stories about how the wolves are in southern Idaho. They are going through Units 54 and 55. What's the status? Have you seen any up there?
Never seen one on the hoof, no.
Really?
I've cut one track myself over by Williams Reservoir, and it was about 7 years ago. We would assume that wolves pass through that unit.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give, we had a wolf that when they released it up in the Stanley Basin with a radio collar on it, they got ran over in Denver, Colorado a week and a half later. So we know that wolves can eat up country.
Yeah.
We've got packs that have been established in Oregon and Washington from Idaho packs because they moved over there. There's a pack that was down in the Wasatch, down in the Hyannis in Utah. They've killed a couple in Preston. They've killed a few over by Soda Springs. It doesn't surprise me that we would have some passing through the Magic Valley.
Why would they be passing through? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what constitutes them wanting to take up a residence in a certain locale?
How far did you travel to date your bride?
Well, people could say I came all the way from Wisconsin to here to find my sweetheart.
Well, you came from Wisconsin to find your sweetheart because everybody knew you back there and you couldn't find one.
That's not what I said, Hatch.
But that's the same reason. I mean, we had a Wolverine. There was another research project that was radio collared in Jenny's Lake over by the Grand Tetons. And Jenny Lake, it came over the Tetons, walked across I-15, walked clear over to Arco.
Wow.
Couldn't find a date, so it came through the Magic Valley, dropped back down towards Tremont, and cut back over by Montpelier, worked its way back over into Afton, and was back in Jenny's Lake.
And then he got on the telephone and called Wolves R Us and got a date, or what?
In 2 months.
Really?
His legs are 6 inches, 7 inches long.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
So animals go to a great... We radio collared there's an ISU study on mountain lions. We radio-collared mountain lions down here out of the Cottrells and down near Middle Mountain and some of that area. It wasn't on Middle Mountain, but it was down in that area. One of them was killed in Reno, and another one was killed up by Red Lodge, Montana.
Reno?
Yeah, Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, I know, but that's a long way.
Yeah, but he was looking for a date.
Yeah.
You know, you find these young males, young females, they're kicked out of the pack. They travel until they find other wolves or find a date, basically somebody to mate with, and because it's a driving force in wildlife. And so, yeah, they've passed through there. The real thing that makes me hesitant about, you know, there being a pack down there is we don't have dead sheep and we don't have dead beef cattle. Yeah, we have an occasional calf that ends up missing for some unbeknownst reason, but we're not seeing what we see up in Unit 55 up in the Copper Basin.
Yeah.
When a pack of wolves move in and we have 10 or 15 animals killed in a night, you know, and so we just don't feel that there is an established pack there. We have no evidence to prove that there's an established pack down there. This is kind of interesting. We had a trapper up trapping coyotes around a band of sheep. Well, they called us and said, hey, we've got a yearling wolf. We went up there to look at it, and it was a neutered hybrid. It was a 2 or 3 year old dog. He had also trapped a couple other dogs when that had happened up in there, so we get some domestic dogs running around out there. But we took DNA samples from this hybrid, and we sent them in to see if it actually had any wolf in it.
Isn't that against the law to let
you
those
bet.
loose? Or?
But, you know, I grew up on a cattle ranch over in eastern Idaho. We had 21 dogs running in a pack that people had turned loose from the city because they take them out to the nice ranchers and saying, there's plenty of place for my big dog to run. My dog needs a big place to run, and I don't want my dog anymore.
Yeah.
So they dump it off, and then they pack up, and then they have to kill, and we end up removing the whole pack of dogs.
Absolutely.
But
we have the same problem, right?
We have the same problem here. It's just people not taking care of themselves or taking care of their stuff.
I got to pay some bills, and you're listening to my good friend Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game. Still time for you to call and ask him any question you want to about how good a cookie is or whatever. We'll get that on the air momentarily. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and the Backcountry All-Terrain Tire from commute to campsite. There you go, Kelton. Exceptional all-season performance, aggressive sidewall, and extra tread. Quiet, comfortable ride. They have them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with the best in batteries when you're up in the backcountry, and also the best in brake service with professionally trained technicians and, of course, premium quality parts. Shocks and struts, front end alignments, everything right there for you for your driving safety at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, Twist Family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my good friend Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, one subject we got to hit here real quick, the fishing roundup, and I know. I'm sure McGargle has tried to call me and take me fishing. Evidently, I just missed his call.
Your wife keeps hanging up on
Yeah, I can understand,
No, for the true angler, this is their favorite time of year, too.
It's a good time of the year.
Well, it is, because all the hunters are out hunting, and all the real fishermen aren't hunting, they're fishing.
There you go.
And it's cooling off. Water temperatures are cooling off at night, and so the fish are getting more active, getting closer to that time of year that, you know, they're trying to stock up on fat just like everything else, because it's shorter seasons, and so great time to get out fishing. Salmon Falls, Oakley have both been fishing really well over the last few weeks. CJ Strike, I guess, last week was fishing tremendous. They had water. It was 93 degrees over there on Saturday.
You're kidding me.
No.
93-degree water in October?
Well, it wasn't water. It was just air temperature. And the water was, I can't remember what they said. They had a bass tournament over there one of my friends was in, and he says it was midsummer fishing.
Yeah, like bathwater.
Yeah, it was. They really caught the fish. He did anyway.
Yeah.
But great time to get out. Streams are cooling off. Lakes are cooling off. Get out and do some fishing.
There you go. You're not a fisherman, though.
I guess I do when my son talks me into it, and he doesn't have to talk very hard. But I go fishing now and again. I try to get all my chores done during fishing season so that I can go hunting.
So there you go. You're going to be Jeremiah Johnson with your 2 children. And how long are you going to be off work? Now, that's not to say that you work when you do work, but you're going to be off work while you go hunting.
A couple days.
I see.
My wife's having a girls' party. All her sisters are coming. Well, her sisters are coming. So
oh, it's fun. Like that TV commercial that the guy drives in the driveway with the red car, and his wife says, "Honey, my mother's here." He starts the engine and backs out and leaves.
Oh, I have seen that commercial. Yes. Well, that's yeah. Actually, she got pretty cool sisters, so really? I'm just glad they're coming over to hang out with her.
Really, and keep her company.
Keep her company
while you play big bad man in the woods.
Freeze to death.
Really,
eat sticks.
It's half the fun.
It is.
Did you clean your sleeping bags from last year?
Yes. The way I clean them is I unzip them and hang them on a clothesline and let the wind blow them.
Well, that's not the best.
Well, I just air them out.
I see. Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about your personal life as a hunter?
No, but it's just a good time of year. Get out there and make some memories. That's what life's about, is making memories. You're just talking about your team rope and horse.
You're going to be sitting on the back porch talking about those the rest of your life.
You do, and the photos you take.
Yep.
Even if there's not a dead critter in there, it's still nice to take photos just to remember. Remember. I was sweating really hard.
It's hard to believe that when we gather together here at the microphone next month, it's going to be November.
I know. It's just before Turkey Day.
Yeah, really.
I want a turkey recipe.
I'll give you one. Stick it in the oven and bake it. Okay. Hey, God bless you, man. Have a good hunt. Be safe.
Thanks.
Idaho Fish and Game, Kelton Hatch. Thank you very, very much. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. Got to run tomorrow morning, Thursday. We've got a full plate. Going to enjoy it. I always do. You will, too. And remember, the way things were, the way things ought to be. Wheels, take it away, old buddy. Have a great day. Thank you.